maximum profit compared to other price choice. So we know last time that if we price a product too high, for example, if we make a decision to price at the price of $7 per unit or $6 per unit, right? Although per unit we earn more as a result of pricing high, right? But if we price the product too high, we're not going to earn maximum profit as well, right? On the other hand, if we make a decision to price our product down here, although as a result of price low, we normally be able to sell more, but per unit we earn less, right? So if we pricing the product too low, we're not going to earn maximum profit as well. So that's why we use the concept of marginal analysis here to find the right price while we compare marginal revenue and the marginal cost over here to make pricing decision. Okay. So over here from this table, we learned that we have some kind of criteria over here, which the slide that we basically skipped last time. Right? So if we just want to find the right price, and we say that we can increase the profit. Right? Whenever we see that at the price that we charge at the moment, if the extra revenue still more than cover the extra cost, we say we should reduce the price. It's like the situation when we price the product too high, right? So in that case, right, we should reduce the price so that we be able to sell more. So in the case that we reduce the price, the extra revenue still more than cover the extra cost. If we make a decision to reduce the price so that we can sell extra unit of product, in that case, you're gonna find that our profit gonna increase, right? On the other hand, if we price the product too low, right, at the price that we make a decision to charge at the moment, the extra revenue, for example, is not cover the extra cost. It means we price the product too low. So in order to earn more profit, we should make a decision to increase price so that per unit we earn more, right? So if basically we found that the extra revenue is not cover the extra cost, we should charge higher price so that we be able to earn more profit. So that is our pricing rule based on the concept of marginal analysis over here. So we said that both consumer and producer, they apply the concept of marginal analysis. Right? Basically, in terms of consumer, when we make a consumption decision, we always compare extra value or extra benefit that we get from extra unit of consumption with the price that we pay for that product. Right? So we're going to continue our consumption as long as the extra value or extra benefit more than cover the price that we pay. Right? So that's how the consumer make a consumption decision by applying the concept of marginal analysis. For seller, basically they use the same concept as well, but they compare the extra revenue and the extra cost when they make pricing decision. Ideally, we say that we should price where extra revenue equal to the extra cost because the pricing at that level should enable us to earn maximum profit as a result of our pricing decision. Okay? So that's how basically we try to make use the concept of marginal analysis when we basically make a pricing decision. That is one thing that we can take into account when we want to find the right price that we should charge for your product, for our product basically. We should know that at the price that basically we make a decision to charge for our product, right? We should see at that price whether the extra revenue cover the extra cost, right? So that we can make better pricing decision by applying the concept of marginal analysis over here. That is one thing that we can consider when we make a pricing decision of our product. Right? So that we know what price we should charge so that we be able to earn more profit, for example. Okay? So that is the concept of marginal analysis. Okay? This one I think we already talked about. So basically, right? So marginal analysis helps us find the right price for our product basically. So basically when we talk about marginal revenue, of course, when we calculate the marginal revenue, so I cannot write down. Okay. Something wrong with my computer. Suddenly stop. Go on, okay?
How do you know? Oh.
Saturday is stop working. Let me 5 minutes. Step forward.
Actually, to be honest, I don't quite understand this marginal rate.
Okay. While waiting for my computer to restart, you see the announcement on the blackboard, right?
Um,
I post two announcements. I think two more. I think one more announcement on the blackboard for you guys about the assignment,
yeah.
the instructions for you to do it, right? So that is one thing. And also another thing, I think I posted yesterday, not yesterday, I think on Sunday, I think. The practice question on the macro part. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you tried to do it?
Done already.
Not yet. Okay. So basically, just try to do it. Okay. I give you a solution later on. That is for the practice question for the macro part. Okay. And then after you see the instruction about the assignments that we discussed last time, you have any question about the assignment?
More expensive and more. It's like electricity, right? It's the ideal. But for example, I don't know how to get this number here.
So it's clear enough for your guys for the assignment. I said that the things that you have to do, like you form a group of T people, you doesn't have to make it long. Like for your analysis, when we talk about why certain country actually face the financial crisis, okay, you choose from the list of the countries that I basically list last time. I also list on the announcement part as well. Okay, so basically, I list 3 questions that you should answer, right? For your assignment. So just make sure that you answer all the 3 questions that I asked you like in your assignments. It doesn't have to be long. I said that shouldn't more than 4 pages. Okay. Exclude graph and figure in case that you have. Okay. It doesn't have to be 4. You can do like fewer pages than that, but of course not 1 page. Okay. Basically. So it has to be 1 page, but it doesn't. Basically, you shouldn't do more than 4 pages, okay? That is the instruction. So I don't expect you to make like a long analysis. I just want you to basically try to see what happens like from time to time why certain country actually experience a crisis. Okay? Go on, okay? I'm about to get ready.
Right. So it doesn't. So there's the idea number.
So today you have to give me basically at the end of the class your group name as well and also the country of your choice. Okay, but you can do it at the end of the class. So I know how many group and also who going to do which country. You can do the same country, I don't mind. But don't copy the work from each other, okay? Just do by yourself. Okay, keep it in your own group.
Yeah, yeah. Argentina, Venezuela. Maybe more data. I'm gonna support our right.
Okay, now my computer back to work. I hope there's no more problems. Okay, so we continue over here. Okay, for the marginal revenue here. The things that I want to show you basically when we talk about marginal revenue here, you know that when we calculate the marginal revenue, it's just change in total revenue over change in Q, right? So of course, the marginal revenue should have relationship with total revenue basically. So normally we say that when the marginal revenue is greater than zero, you should find that as long as marginal revenue is greater than zero, right? Total revenue should increase, right? Basically, when we sell extra unit, right? But if you found out that marginal revenue is less than zero, of course, right? When we sell extra unit, you earn less extra revenue. Total revenue should fall in that case. So where you're gonna earn maximum revenue is where marginal revenue equal to zero. That's where you're gonna earn maximum revenue. We're going to show the relationship through the graph later on. Okay, so that is the relationship between the marginal revenue and total revenue over here. Okay. On the other hand, if we talk about the concept, like relationship between marginal revenue and marginal cost, so long as the marginal revenue is still greater than marginal cost, you're gonna find that the profit still rising, right? On the other hand, when marginal revenue is less than marginal cost, you're gonna find that your profit basically gonna fall. For example, at the price that you charge, extra revenue is not cover the extra cost. If you continue to charge at that price, you're going to find that your profit gonna fall as a result. So where you're gonna earn maximum profit as a result of your pricing decision is where marginal revenue exactly equal to the marginal cost here. So that is the relationship between the marginal revenue, marginal cost, and profit. We see through the graph later. Okay? Are you ready to see the graph about relationship that we see over here? Okay, can we continue? I hope I can continue, right? Because no response, so I think it would be fine. Okay, so here this one we already talked about. So here we have the graph that based on the information on the previous page. Okay, this is the we use the information from previous table like, to plot this graph. Okay, so let's see the relationship between marginal revenue and total revenue first. Here we have the zero line. So it means around this quantity, okay, the horizontal axis is the quantity axis. Here is marginal revenue equal to zero, okay? So if you look at the relationship between the marginal revenue and the total revenue curve above, right? Here is where the maximum revenue should be, right? You see over here, on the left side, where marginal revenue cut the zero exit or where marginal revenue equal to zero. Here, when you find marginal revenue still greater than zero, you see that the revenue is increasing. On the other hand, if we move on the right hand side here, right, you're gonna find that marginal revenue is below the zero line. So here imply that marginal revenue is less than zero. So you're gonna find that your revenue fall as a result. So that is the relationship between the marginal revenue and the total revenue. Then here we also can illustrate the relationship between marginal revenue, marginal cost, and the profit curve, right here. So over here, right, basically we said that when the marginal revenue cross the marginal cost curve here, right, you're gonna see that at that quantity around 3 to 4 units over here, marginal revenue equal to the marginal cost, That's where you should basically earn maximum profit. As a result of your pricing decision, basically you'll be able to sell around something like quantities of your product there. But if basically we are on the left of the intersection over here, you found that marginal revenue is still greater than marginal cost, so you find your profit is rising. On the other hand, if we are on the right of the intersection over here, you see marginal revenue is basically below marginal cost. You're gonna find that your profit gonna fall. Okay, so that is the relationship between marginal revenue, marginal cost, and profit. So we use the information on the table on the previous page, right? Plot this curve so that we see the relationship between marginal revenue, total revenue, marginal cost, and profit, for example. Okay, so that is basically the relationship between them. Can we continue? Okay, so we continue. Okay, this is the same, right? Here, basically, marginal revenue is equal to 0. So there, same thing. Revenue is basically maximized. This is the same. Okay, this one we just concentrate on demand, marginal revenue, and total revenue. And anyone have an idea why basically demand is downward sloping, marginal revenue is also downward sloping? Have I tell you during the pre-term? I don't remember. No, okay. Let's see. You see that is our demand curve, right? This is our marginal revenue curve, right? So normally when demand is downward sloping, you're gonna find that marginal revenue is going to be downward sloping as well. And the slope of the marginal revenue is going to be twice as steep as the demand curve. So let's see why. Okay. Then I have the blank page to explain to you. Okay. Which we're going to show you relationship between the marginal revenue, total revenue, and elasticity as well, which we already discussed in the pre-term over here. So let's see why demand is downward sloping, marginal revenue is also downward sloping, and normally it should twice as steep as the demand. Okay. So here, suppose we have the demand equation. Okay. We write down the demand equation over here as E equal to A minus BQ. Okay. So we said that normally if we assume law of demand, right, we're going to see the inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demand. So over here, if we plot the demand curve based on this equation, this is basically the price, and this is quantity, this is basically 0. Okay? So if quantity is 0, what is the intersection of the price axis over here? A. Then how about the intersection on the quantity axis here based on our demand equation above? So here it means we treat price equal to 0, right? So 0 equal to A minus BQ. So A equal to BQ. So what is Q? A over B there. So if we connect this point together, you get the demand curve based on this demand equation. Okay, so that is demand. Then we're gonna show that demand downward sloping. So normally we're going to see marginal revenue downward sloping, and we should provide as steep as demand. Okay, so we're gonna plot the marginal revenue curve on the same plane over here. So we know that marginal revenue is change in total revenue over change, right? It is the extra revenue that as a result of basically we sell extra unit. Right? This is the extra revenue earned as a result of selling extra unit, right? So here, how to get the marginal revenue? You have to know how to get the total revenue first, right? So total revenue is P times Q, right? That's how we calculate total revenue. We already know the price, right, based on the demand equation above, right? So you just plug in the demand equation above into the way we calculate total revenue here. So you get A minus BQ multiplied by Q, right? So it's implied that your total revenue is AQ minus BQ squared. That is your total revenue. Okay? Then we want to get the marginal revenue here. So this is a simplified form of marginal revenue. So we can get marginal revenue from basically this equation. We know that marginal revenue basically is change in total revenue over change in Q. Or basically you use partial derivative, you dip total revenue with respect to Q. So what you get? A minus 2BQ. So that is your marginal revenue equation. We say marginal revenue is A minus 2BQ here. So if we plot marginal revenue on the same plane here, so let the exit here also imply marginal revenue. So when Q is 0, marginal revenue equal to A here, right? Then we want to know basically the intersection on the quantity axis over here, right? So basically over there, marginal revenue is 0, right? So we get 0 equal to A minus 2BQ. So A equal to let me write out here. So A equal to what? 2BQ here. If we let marginal revenue is 0, because basically we want to know the intersection over here. So Q equal to what? A over 2B. So this is basically your marginal revenue curve. Okay? So you see marginal revenue basically is when demand is downward sloping, marginal revenue is downward sloping, and it's twice as steep as the demand. It means slope is twice as steep as demand. Okay? So just basically relationship between them. Can I continue?
Oh.
So remember this equation because you're going to see it on your slide as well. This is demand equation, this is marginal revenue equation. You're going to see it on the next slide. Okay? Can we continue? Can we? Okay, so we continue. Okay? So let's see on the slide. Remember this equation here that we get. Okay? So here, basically, demand equation, you see the equation is the same, right? E equal to A minus BQ. So here is our B, right? Slope of the demand curve. And then this is our marginal revenue curve. Here is A, right? Based on equation before. So marginal revenue, same thing. This is A, right? This is what? 2B, right? So this is the same as I showed you last time how we get the marginal revenue equation based on the demand equation here. Okay? So you see here is our demand curve. Here is our marginal revenue curve. It's twice as steep as the demand. Right? That's how we get it, right, from the previous case. Then here we show relationship between marginal revenue, demand, and elasticity. So you connect the things with what you learned in the pre-term here. Right? For relationship between basically elasticity, total revenue, and then we have marginal revenue over here as well. So here you see, when basically demand is elastic, remember the above portion of demand curve, or at high price, demand is elastic. You see marginal revenue is greater than 0, right? So you know that from last time when demand is elastic, right? When you reduce price, right? Basically demand is sensitive to the price change, right? When demand is elastic, right? So you know from pre-terms that when demand is elastic, when you basically reduce price, you should be able to earn more, right? So you know when demand is elastic, that marginal revenue basically is greater than 0. So if you reduce the price of your product, you'll be able to basically earn more revenue as a result. Yeah. So that's how we incorporate like marginal revenue into relationship between elasticity and basically total revenue. Okay? Basically when we reduce price. Then you know that at the below portion of the demand curve here, you know when demand is basically inelastic, right? When the price of product is low, people not as sensitive to the price change. You know if you continue to reduce price when demand is inelastic, you're gonna find reduction in revenue as a result. And you also found out that at the range where demand is inelastic, marginal revenue is basically less than zero. Right? So basically, if you basically continue to reduce your product price, at the end, when at those range demand is inelastic, marginal revenue is less than zero. So you're gonna find a reduction in revenue instead. Okay? So that is relationship between them. Go on. Okay? So last one, basically, you know that if you want to earn maximum revenue, you should price where demand is unit elastic, right? So here, when demand is unit elastic, you're gonna see that over there, marginal revenue is equal to zero. So over there, you see, if you price your product where demand is unit elastic, marginal revenue is zero. Total revenue should be maximum. Okay? So that is relationship between them. Okay? Marginal revenue equal to zero, demand there is unit elastic. So that's where you found your revenue is maximized if you price those price range. Okay? Or that price range will maximize. Okay? Can we continue? Can we? Okay. Right? So that is relationship between demand, marginal revenue, total revenue, and also elasticity. Okay? So let's continue. Okay? Now we look into the production cost, because cost is the thing that we should consider as well. Because if we produce a product and the cost of production is too high or higher than our competitor, it's hard to beat our competitors, right? Because too high production cost squeeze our profit margin basically. So here when we talk about cost, here in terms of the economics, right? We don't care only about the explicit cost. Right? The explicit cost is the basically like the accounting cost basically, right? The cost or the money that basically flow out of your pocket. You see the money flow out of your pocket. So that is the representative of accounting cost or the explicit cost. Here. For example, the rent that you pay, the interest rate on the loan that you borrow, right? The manager's salary, workers' salary, the cost of raw material that you pay so that you'll be able to produce the product that you want. So that is the explicit cost. But in econ, we say that those are not the only costs that we should consider, right? When basically we make our investment decision, right? That's not all the costs we should consider. We should consider what we call the implicit cost as well, or the opportunity cost, right? As a result of our investment, basically. For example, if we use land, right, to build a factory, for example, we forgot the chance, right, to rent the land to someone and we will earn basically rental income, for example. So that is the opportunity cost of using our land, right? We should take into account as well. Opportunity cost, like basically, is the cost of the next best alternative, basically. So if we don't use this land, like to build a factory, how are we gonna use it? What is the next best alternative? For example, if we don't use this land to build a factory, we can rent this land to someone and we earn some rental income, right? So the rental income that we work on is considered our opportunity cost because that is the next best alternative of using the land. Okay, so we should take into account as well, right? Opportunity cost of money. Basically, we use the money to invest in this project. We lost a chance to use the money to invest in another project or the next best alternative project, right? So basically, with the money that we invest in this project, the return that we should get from this money at least should more than the return that we get from the next best alternative, right? So we should consider that thing as well because that is the opportunity cost of using the money. Opportunity cost of the time, basically, you use time, like you invest your time to do this project. You lost the time to do something else, right? Or you lost the time to do the next best job, for example. So you have to think about your income for God as well, right? Or the income that you earn from another job, like that is the opportunity cost here. So here, basically, when we evaluate our project, right, rather than looking only the accounting cost, we should basically look into the implicit cost as well here. So that's how when the basically economists, right, they talk about the profit. The profit that they talk is not the accounting profit, okay? The profit that they consider is what we call the economic profit, or the profit after we take into account the implicit cost, okay? Because it's possible that sometimes, although we earn positive accounting profit, right, but at the same time we might earn negative economic profit, for example, which means the thing that we do is not the best thing that we can do, basically, right? So when we calculate the accounting profit, it's just simple. You just minus total revenue with the explicit cost, the cost that you just see flowing out of your pocket, basically, right? But when you talk about economic profit, right, rather than you minus the explicit cost out of the total revenue, you also minus the implicit cost as well. For example, we just think about the implicit cost as basically the normal profit. So what do we say the normal profit? The profit that you expect to earn, basically on the next best alternative of your investment decision. For example, with the money that you have, like you invest in this project, like if you use the same money to invest in next best alternative, what is the rate of return that you expect to get from the next best alternative of your investment? For example, the next best alternative of your investment should generate profit 10% out of the money that you invest. It means when you invest in this project, you should earn at least 10% as well, right? Otherwise, basically, there's something wrong with your investment decision. Okay, so that's the profit, right? Basically, that the economists consider, right? They consider the opportunity cost as well, right? Basically, at least the profit that you earn should more than cover the opportunity cost of your money, your time, or whatsoever, right? So that is the economic profit. But from here, sometimes we call it as just the profit. But the profit that we refer over here is always in fact economic profit, okay? Not just the accounting profit here. So here's just the example when we compare economic profit and the accounting profit and economic profit over here. So here is basically the situation of one guy, okay? He already earned a CPA, like he already have his own accounting office, basically, right? So as a result of opening his own accounting office, right, the revenue that he can generate is $55,000, okay? The office supply is $2,000, so if basically he cares only accounting profit, it should be fine for him to basically open his own office, right? Because the accounting profit is positive, right? But after we actually consider the opportunity cost that this guy incurred, say that suppose this guy now is around 35 to 45 years old. So if you work somewhere else or another accounting companies, right, he should earn 65,000 a year, for example. And now the office space that he used to run his own accounting office, he actually rent the office instead, right? This is the next best alternative of using the office, right? So basically, he should earn the rental income of around 13,000 a year. So that is basically the implicit cost or the opportunity cost of running his own accounting office. He lost a chance to basically earn income if he basically works somewhere else, right? The next best alternative, he should work at other accounting companies, right? And also the office that he now use to open his accounting office, if you rent to someone else, the income that he should earn as well, right? So after we take into account this implicit cost, and then we recalculate the economic profit, what happened? He actually made a loss, right? Basically, right? So what he should do after he take into account the opportunity cost or the implicit cost over here? The implicit cost is too high, so it means after he evaluate everything, he should basically work somewhere else, right? Basically he earned the rental income just for rental the office as well, right? So that's how we basically compare the economic profit and the accounting profit over here. So when you basically evaluate your investment project, your investment decision, don't forget to take into account the opportunity cost as well, okay? So when we basically calculate the economic profit here, we have three scenarios when we refer to the economic profit here. We have a situation of negative, zero, and also positive. So how basically they are implied, right? Negative economic profit, like the situation of that accounting guy, basically, right? He basically earn less than it should be, right? Basically, that's high cost of the next best alternative, basically. So if you invest, you have basically too high opportunity cost of your investment. With the money that you invest in this project, you can earn more somewhere else, right? Or basically you earn lower return than it should be, right? Or you earn lower return than the other guy, for example. So that might consider the negative economic profit situation. So basically you should use your money to do something else, basically, right? Because with the money that you have, that's not the best thing that you can do, right? So that is the negative economic profit situation. For the normal profit situation, we consider the zero economic profit. It means you earn equal to what you should earn, basically, right? So for example, with the money that you have, if you invest in the next best alternative, you should earn 10% of your investment. Now you earn exactly 10%, right? You earn exactly equal to the next best alternative. So that is the zero economic profit. You can still invest, right? Because basically after taking into account the opportunity cost, you still be able to earn what you should earn. So it should be fine, in that case, basically. Or you roughly earn like what other people earn, basically, right? So that is zero economic profit, or we call that situation normal profit. So that should be fine for you, right? To continue undertaking your investment, but your project is not that basically attractive to other guys, basically. Okay? But you still can continue to invest in this project because you earn what you should earn, basically, at least after you take into account the opportunity cost. Of course, the right side situation over here is the things that you want to do or we want to earn as a result of your investment, basically. The positive economic profit is means you earn more than everyone else, basically, right? You earn more than the return from the next best alternative. So your project is really attractive, basically, right? But of course, you happy under this kind of situation, you get good return from your investment, basically. But you have to be careful as well, because people see that you basically earn attractive profit, basically. So some people might at the end basically want to compete with you, right? So if it's easier for other people to come and compete with you because the market is kind of easy for everyone to enter, right? You have to be careful under the situation because as a result of more competition, at the end your profit going to die down to zero economic profit at the end. If you cannot prevent others to compete with you, because positive economic profit is a situation that you're gonna attract competitors at the end. So if market is easy to compete, you're gonna see more competitors coming in to compete with you at the end. Your profit might drop down to zero economic profit. Okay, but of course you're going to be more than happy under this kind of situation. Okay, so that's profit that we talk about. Basically, we always talk about the economic profit over here rather than the accounting profit. Okay, then we talk about the things that basically from time to time affect our cost of production over here. Right? Of course, we try to achieve efficiency in the production process because we know that if we be able to produce product more efficiently, right, we should be able to basically reduce our production cost. So what kind of efficiency that we would like to achieve when we talk about the production process over here so that we be able to reduce production cost, right? The first kind of efficiency we call technological efficiency. So what do we mean by this technological efficiency? It's the situation where when we produce given output, we can basically use this amount of input. So it means to produce given level of output, to be able to use fewer amount of input. So of course, you achieve technological efficiency in the production process. And when you be able to do that thing, right, to produce the output with the fewer amount of input or least amount of input, you should be able to achieve another kind of efficiency as well. We call it economic efficiency. So economic efficiency is mean firm be able to produce given amount of output with least cost. Okay, so those kind of efficiency is actually related, right? If you be able to achieve technological efficiency, you can also achieve economic efficiency as well, but not always. Okay, but this is the necessary condition for you to achieve the least production cost. Basically, you should produce given level of output with least amount of input as much as possible, so that you can produce desired level of output with the least cost. Basically. Right? In order to achieve this thing, you need the above one. Okay, but technological efficiency doesn't always guarantee that you're going to achieve economic efficiency because you need this one to achieve this one, but this one doesn't always guarantee the below one because of it. Because here, what things that we didn't take into account for now. The input cost, right? Basically, you know that under technical efficiency situation, you know you want to produce desired level of output with least amount of input as possible. Because if you be able to do that, you should be able to produce the given level of output with the least cost, right? So you need this one to achieve this one, but this one doesn't always guarantee that you're going to achieve this one, because here we don't talk about the input cost, right? So it might be possible that although you achieve the technical efficiency in the production process, it means you produce the desired level of output with this amount of input as much as possible. But if your input cost is too high, although you use few amount of them, but the input cost is too high, can you achieve the economic efficiency at the end? You use this amount of input, but if the input cost is too high, can you achieve the least production cost? No, right? Basically. So you need this one to get this one, but this one doesn't always guarantee the below one. It depends on the input cost as well. You have to take into account the input cost that you use in the production process. So if your input cost is too high, it's difficult for you to achieve the below. Okay? So that's how these two actually relate. You understand what I said? Okay. Right? So that is the concept of efficiency in the production process, basically. Of course, it's linked to the production cost. We care about this one because the production cost affects our profit margin from time to time, right? So we care about this thing. Okay? All right? So, no questions, so I continue. Right? So now we talk about the cost in the short run and long run, so that we basically see how our cost is influenced from time to time, right? So normally when we talk about production that we see in day-to-day operation, we talk about the short run production cost, right? The operation process that we see now, right? So we see through the short run production basically. Suppose we simplify our analysis a bit, right? Q is actually the output that we produce. Suppose in order to produce the output, we can use two factors of production over here. L is stand for example, labor. K is stand for the capital, the machinery, for example, over here. Right? The capital or the machine here. The capital here in the machinery. Right? If we use in the production process, the machine. We can say just the machine here. Okay? So you know that normally like the labor we treat it as the variable factor, right? But the capitals, like especially in the short run, the machine that we use to produce the output is considered a fixed factor in the short run production period. So that's why we have the bar line here above the letter K here, because when we take into account the production in the short run. how much basically output that we be able to produce. It depends on the combination of the labor and capital that we have from time to time. Right? But of course, in the short run period, we cannot change the amount of machine that we have, right? So it's rather fixed in the short run. So of course, if we want to produce more output in the short run, where we constrained by the amount of machine that we have, right, we have to increase the variable factor, which is the labor, right? So that is the production in the short run period normally. Right? We basically constrained by the fixed factor that we cannot change in the short run period. Right? That is the production that we see day to day, for example, right? In the month or even in a year, for example, where we cannot change the machinery that we use to produce the given level of output. Basically. The production in the long run, on the other hand, right? We can change everything because time period is long enough. We can build a new factory, we can buy a new machine, whatsoever, so that we be able to expand our production capacity. So no factor of production, they are fixed in the long run because we can change everything. So normally production in the long run we don't see it, right? Because we consider it as the planning stage, right? Before you basically open your factory to produce the design level of output, you have to plan beforehand, right? So the planning stage is the long run production stage. When we talk about production in the short run, it's after you open your factory, you start your operation. Basically, the short run production is your operation stage. Okay. Operation stage now, things that you see from time to time. Basically, that is production in the short run. Right? So if we ask the time period of short run and long run, it's different from industry to industry, right? It's the short run period is the period where you cannot change fixed factor of production. For example, farmer over here, they need land to produce the farm output. The short run period for farmer is probably 1 year because it takes like more than a year for the farmer to acquire new land to produce like larger amount of farm output basically. But within 1 year, farmer might not be able to acquire new land. Right? So the short run production period for farmer to produce the farm output may be 1 year. Right? Where the farmer cannot basically acquire new land. For the shipping companies, right, short run period might be up to 3 years, where the shipping companies basically cannot acquire the new ship, for example, right, to run the shipping business, for example. Right? So the short run period is depends on business to business, from industry to industry, but it's just a period where you cannot change your fixed factor of production. That's considered your short run production period here. So here, when we talk about the production in the short run, why eventually we face a situation of rising costs normally, right? This is due to the things that we call the law of diminishing return, right? Or sometimes we say the diminishing marginal product. That is normal, right, in the production state. Let me write out the word marginal more beautiful. Same thing, diminishing return, diminishing marginal return, or diminishing marginal product imply the same thing. Okay, that's eventually cause your cost of production rising basically, right? So why we normally encounter those kind of situations, right? What do we mean by diminishing return or diminishing marginal product here? Okay, so let's see how we calculate the marginal product, or what do we actually imply in terms of the marginal product. For example, here, before we talk about this one, suppose the variable factor that we use in the production process talks about the labor, okay, which we're going to use the letter L to stand for labor. So if we just want to know the productivity of the labor that we employ, right, we can look into the marginal product of labor. Which I shortly call as MPL here. Okay, that is one thing that we can look into in terms of the productivity of the labor that we employ, so that we can produce the desired level of output. First thing we have to employ the labor, for example. The productivities of labor can basically imply from the marginal product. So the marginal product of labor is actually change in Q over change in F. Okay. or extra output that we can get from employing extra unit of labor. Right? So that is the marginal product of labor. Q stands for the output that we produce. Sometimes instead that we call it as the output Q, sometimes we call it as total product. It's all refer to the same thing. Q output or total product here mean the same thing. So basically, if we call the output as the total product other than call it as the output Q, you can also calculate the marginal product of labor as the change in total product over change in L. Remember, total product and Q is just refer to the same thing. So it depends on how you choose to call it. Okay? So here, right, what do we mean by the diminishing marginal product? Right? Diminishing return or diminishing marginal return whatsoever is implied. Just think about the situation over here. Suppose we talk about the farm output normally. Okay? So of course, like if you are the farmer, right, you have one piece of land. Right? The piece of land that you use to grow your farm output is considered your fixed factor, in which you cannot change in a short run period, right? So here, right, of course, if we talk about basically like growing the farm output, of course, if we just have the land, right, with zero worker working in the land, how can we get the output, right? So we need the labor, right? So of course, first the unit of labor, of course, you start employing the labor to get like more output as a result of employing the labor, right? Suppose you keep on hiring. Of course, the first few units of the labor that you employ, you get more and more output as a result of your employment, right? But if you continue to basically employ the labor here, what's gonna happen? You eventually have too many labor in your land. You're going to get like fewer additional output at the end, right? So that's what we call diminishing marginal product or diminishing return is implied the same thing. Right? It means eventually the productivity of your labor gonna be less and less. When the productivities of the labor that you employ basically less and less, so you get like fewer additional output as a result of like continue your labor employment at the end your cost should rise. Okay? Basically. Okay? So here let's just try to illustrate what do we mean by diminishing marginal product. Eventually, the productivity of labor going to be less and less at the end. Cause you at the end have to employ more and more labor to get the desired level of output. When the productivities of the labor is less, that's going to cause your cost of production to rise. When labor is less productive, now we have a situation basically of diminishing marginal product. Okay? Can I continue? Can I continue? No answer. So I think I can continue. You have to read your mind, okay? Okay, continue here. So basically, like the diminishing return, diminishing marginal return, diminishing marginal product imply the same thing basically. When you increase the amount of labor that you employ, like at the end, you get less and less extra output basically, right? So after you experience those kind of things, right, it means the productivities of the factor of production is less, right? Basically, you get less and less output at the end. Right? At the end, you have to employ more labor to get desired output that should cause your cost of production as a result of this. Okay, so let's see over here. Here we continue the same example as I mentioned. Right? The fixed input here is land. Land is the fixed factor. Variable input is the labor that we employ. Of course, as I show you, if the land is crowded, like the farm output going to be less, right? As a result, you keep employing more and more labor. At the end, you're going to find the productivities of the labor that you employ going to be less and less. You get less and less additional output. Okay? So here, that's what I mentioned before, right? In addition or instead of like calling the output as the Q that we regularly call the output, we can call it as the total product as well. So when we talk about the production function over here, we said the farm output is the functions of the fixed factor, which is the land, and the labor variable factor that we employ. right? So that's how we write down the production function when we talk about the production of the farm output. In this case here, the total product or output is the function of the land that we have at the moment and the labor that we employ. So here, if basically we plot the total product curve or the output curve, that's what we get here. Okay, suppose we have information on the left-hand side. Here is the same thing as the Q. We can call that one is the output curve or total product curve. It's just the same thing, right? So here you see that, right? This is the number of labor that we employ, right, to work in our land to produce the wheat output here. So of course, if you don't employ any labor, you're gonna get zero output because it's just land and no labor, how we gonna get the output, right? But you see, when we start employing the labor, initially we get more and more output, right? So here for the information over here, you know this is the amount of labor that we employ. This is the total product or output. It's the same thing. You know that when you calculate the marginal product of labor, it's change in Q over change in L, or change in total product over change in L. Suppose we have another column over here. We write down the marginal product of labor here. So of course with zero output, right? As a result of we don't employ any labor, initially marginal product should be zero. But what happens after we start employing the first unit of labor? How we get in terms of the increase in output over here? 3, right? So 3 here come from what? 3 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. How about we employ additional unit of labor from 1 to 2 labor? What is the increase in output that we get? 7. So how we calculate 7? 10 minus 3 over 2 minus 1, for example. How about the third unit of labor? How much the extra output that we get? 14. So we continue to do this one. 12, 4, 2, 0, then minus 2. Okay, you see, when you employ the labor that give you negative marginal product, instead of get higher amount output, you get reduction in output instead. So here basically is the productivities of the labor, or we can say, right? Also illustrate the productivity. Sorry. Yeah. Productivity of the labor as well, we talk about marginal product here. So you see that at the first few unit of the labor that we employ, we don't have the problems of basically diminishing marginal product because of what? You see, you get the increasing amount of output when you employ the labor, right? When you start having the problems of basically diminishing return, here, when you get less extra unit of output than before, that's when you experience the problems of diminishing return. So about basically 3 to 4 labor over here, somewhere, you start having the problems of diminishing return. This means you get less additional output as a result of employing your labor, right? So your productivities of the labor is less here. Okay? So here, if you basically notice the relationship between the output that we get as a result of employment and marginal product here, right? The marginal product here, the productivity of the labor over here, going to influence the shape of the output. Okay? Or we can say, in fact, the marginal product of labor is actually slope of the total product curve or the output curve here. We show you on the next page. Okay? The productivities of labor influence how much output that we get as a result of employment. How much output that we get as a result of employment is depends on productivity of labor. The productivities of labor illustrate to what we call the marginal product. we start having the problems of diminishing return once basically as a result of extra unit of employment, we get less additional unit of output than before. That's when we start having the problems of diminishing return. Okay? Can I continue?
Yes.
Still no response. So I hope we can continue.
Yep.
Continue?
Yeah.
We talk about maximum output later. Okay? Right? So we basically talk about relationship between marginal product and output. I'll show you later. But from the relationship that we see here, you're going to see that marginal product is actually the slope of the output. Okay? We'll show that later on. Okay? So besides the marginal product here, right? This is the same thing as I showed you. Change in QV over here. QV is the variable factor. It's actually same thing as we said change in L, right? When we say the marginal product of labor here is N here, because we talk about the productivities of labor as a result of the additional output that we get when we employ additional unit of labor. That is, we already calculated on the previous case, right? Then another thing that basically people use to measure the labor productivity, of course, you might basically learn about this thing more. Although we call it the average product here, but it's actually average product of labor. It's actually Q over L, or total product over L. Or sometimes you just know it as output per worker. It's also a thing that people use to measure the labor productivities, given that labor is the variable factor that we use in production over here. Okay. These two things have a relationship with each other as well. Okay. Marginal product influence the average product. Okay, basically. So there's two things that we basically can use to measure the productivities of the variable factors that we use in production process. So you might more familiar with the first one, because that is the basic measure of the productivity of the variable factors in production. Right? Or we say variable factor over here is labor, it's just the output per worker. Okay? So let's continue, okay? Let's see how we calculate here based on the information. So this is just the same information that we used to plot the graph on the previous page here. But here is basically average product of labor. This is, we already calculated the marginal product of labor, right? This is Q over L, because we can treat this one as Q the same thing. This is change in Q over change in L, okay? So when you calculate, basically output per worker is simple here. So for example, how we get 3 here? 3 over 1. How you get 5? 10 over 2. How you get 8? 24 over 3. Why the marginal product is the same thing that we showed you before. Basically. So if you focus on the relationship between these two measurements of productivity, these two, you find any relationship between them? Between these two. You see here, when the marginal product is rising, it means the labor is productive. When labor is productive, you should continue to get high output per worker, right? When you get more and more additional output as a result of labor employment, you should basically, when the labor is productive here, you get more and more additional output, like as a result of additional employment. Right? When labor is productive, it should translate into high output per worker or high average product as well. But you see, once when labor starts to be less productive, right? When we have the problem of diminishing return there. So here when we have a problems of diminishing return, let me use another color. Here. Diminishing return or diminishing marginal product, what happens? The labor starts to be less productive, right? You get less and less additional output, So output per worker gonna go down as well when labor is less productive. Okay, so that is the relationship between them. When labor is less productive, of course, it translates to basically lower output per worker. Okay, that is the relationship between these two measurement of the productivities of the variable factor of production. Okay, you can basically plot the graph to show you this relationship. So can I continue? Okay, on the back is fine. Okay. So now we show you to the graph. That's how we basically calculate the marginal product. Marginal product is actually slope of the above curve, the output curve or total product curve here. Okay, let's see to this one because these are the letters we see to the graph. Okay, so if we plot the three curves based on the information, remember the bold one is the output curve there. Let me write down here so that remind you of how we actually calculate it. So you see, when basically the labor is productive, that is before you have talking about finishing return. Output increase at increasing rate. We say output increase rapidly. The situation when we basically employ the labor, we get like continued increase in the output as a result of additional employment. We said output increase at increasing rate. Let me illustrate the relationship here. So we said that when marginal product is rising, you see Q increase at increasing rate. It means output increase rapidly. It means labor is very productive at the initial unit of labor that we employ. But once we have problems of diminishing return here we have a problems of diminishing return. It means labor start to be basically less productive. Right? What happens? Use another. It means the increase in output going to be less. Here we say when marginal product is falling but still greater than 0, what happens? Output increase at decreasing rate. It means output increase slowly. Once we have problems of diminishing return, it means when labor start to be less productive. But still, labor still be able to produce more output, but the amount of output that labor produces is basically less than before, we can say. Or the additional output that labor produce, after explain the problems of diminishing return, the additional output that labor produces is less and less, right? So outputs start to increase slowly, or we say increase at decreasing rate, means increase slowly. Okay? Then what is the maximum output that we get as a result of employing the labor? We say that is when the marginal product is 0. That's the max Q that we be able to get as a result of employment. Here, when marginal product is 0, somewhere there, that is actually the maximum amount of output that you'll be able to get as a result of employing the labor. You have to draw a straight line, okay? My hand is shaking. I try to draw it as a straight line here. Okay, no. Okay, that's better. That's the maximum output that you can get as a result of employment. You're not going to basically get more output than that. Okay, and eventually the last labor that you employ, you're not going to employ labor more than that normally. Okay, because once you start to employ the labor, that gives you negative marginal product what happened? Output gonna fall instead. Here, if you continue employing the labor that give you negative marginal product, you're gonna get lower amount of output instead. So the last unit of the labor that you're gonna employ is around somewhere there. Okay? You're not going to employ the labor exceed the point where marginal product is zero. Okay? You're not going to, in other words, you're not going to employ labor more than that. Because if you start employing the labor that give you negative marginal product, instead of getting more output, you're going to get lower output instead. Okay? So that's tell you what is the last unit of labor that you're going to employ. Okay? You're not going to employ more than that. Okay? So that's the relationship between marginal product and the total product or output curve. So that's why we say marginal product is actually the slope of the total product on the output curve there. Then let's talk about the below curve here. Here, down here, you have relationship between the average product and the marginal product. Here. Although we already tell you the relationship, right, by just looking at the information on the table, right, in the previous page, right, we can illustrate to the graph as well. Okay, you see when the marginal product is actually above the average product, you're gonna find out that the average product is rising. Of course, it is basically the labor is productive, right? Marginal, as illustrated, like through the higher marginal product of labor, right, more than the average product, that's gonna pull basically the average product up. When the labor is productive. On the other hand, when the labor is less productive, or you get lower marginal product than the average product, what happens? Average product gonna fall down. So we're gonna see that the marginal product always cut the average product at the maximum of average product. I can tell you more example that close to your experience. Have you heard about this thing? The average product, you can think about the things like your GPAC, your current G. This is your first term, you don't have a GPAC yet, right? This is like your GPAC basically. The marginal product is like the grade that you get from the econ class. How many courses you take now? Three? And you take 3 courses, right? So average product is the grade that you get, the average grade that you get for all 3 courses basically. The marginal product is the grade that you get from the econ class. Okay? So suppose like basically your GPAC is currently at B, for example. You are at the bottom line. Of course, if you enroll in this course, you get A. How is going to affect your GPAC? Pull up, right? But suppose your GPAC is now at B. If you're unlucky, you enroll in this course, you got C. What happened to your GPAC? Down. And now suppose your GPAC is at B. You enroll in this course, you got B, exactly equal to you. Basically your GPAC now. That is where you are. Okay? You can think about those types of situations for relationship between marginal product, average product. Average product is like your GPAT, right? Marginal product is the grade that you get as a result of enrolling in this course. Okay? So that's it for this one. Yeah, I know you look at that. Okay? So here, like basically the relationship between them. So for the page that we actually pass, so you in summary, marginal product is the slope of the output curve, right? When marginal product rise, like output curve is very steep, right? Basically at the point of diminishing returns over there, you're gonna see that, right? The increase in output going to be like slowly, right? Due to labor less productive. For the average product and marginal product, you see as long as marginal product greater than average product, is pull average product up, right? When marginal product is fall, right? As long as it's still above average product still continue to increase, right? But if basically the marginal product less than the average product, you will see average product fall down, right? When marginal product is greater than zero, right? Continue to basically get more output as a result of employment. The maximum output that you get as a result of employment occur where marginal product is equal to zero. When marginal product is negative, you're going to find that as a result of employment, you get the reduction in output instead. You're not going to employ beyond the point where marginal product is zero. Okay, basically. So that is the relationship between them. So when marginal product is zero, maximum output that you get as a result of employment. Okay, this is the same. Okay, so here let me see. Okay, this is the last page before the break. So in summary, when marginal product is rising, output increase at increasing rate. When marginal product start to decline but still positive, output increase at slower rate. When marginal product is negative, output decline. So that is the relationship between that two. Marginal product equal to average product at the maximum of average product. We already mentioned about that thing as well. So that is a summary relationship between the output and the productivities of the factor input that we use in the production process. Here you're going to show later that it eventually affects the production cost. Okay, when the labor is quite less productive. Okay, so I think I should give you a break.